Does Trevor Mallard deserve a plum diplomatic job in Dublin? Can Chris Hipkins clean up crime and crack down on gangs? Labour's reshuffled its decks after increasing pressure over performance. Farfoy gone, Mallard out. Portal Williams, see you later. Here's what the Prime Minister had to say on this yesterday.
Portal and I share a view that at this time it's critical that our focus and time is on supporting the police, implementing our record investment in the front line, passing our further gun law reforms, and developing additional measures to deal with the current escalation in gang tensions and violence. That focus currently has been lost.
Right, this follows concern Williams wasn't tackling rising crime that's seen a spate of ram raids and gang violence. To unpack it all is political commentator Trish Sherson and former Labour Party President Mike Williams. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you guys. So, Mike, I'll start with you. The narrative has changed around Portal. So it's not that she was doing a bad job, just that the narrative had somehow shifted. What does that mean?
I think she had the wrong kind of personality for a police minister. I don't think it was a good choice to begin with. She's got a soft, warm personality, and you really need to be a bit of a hard nut if you're going to be police minister. And I think that's what Jacinda actually said. But I think there's something higher going on here. The government needs to get control of the agenda, and that is what Jacinda tried to do yesterday, and I think the timing's very good.
Is this about sort of post-COVID vacuum? They don't really know what they're up to after COVID, Trish.
Well, all three yesterday had to go because of poor performance. The Speaker, Chris Farfoy, had been asleep at the wheel since the last election. Portal Williams, shocking performance. I mean, she wasn't only Minister of Police, but also Minister of Building and Construction. And, you know, that sector is in an absolute state. But I think the bigger thing to look at from yesterday's reshuffle, Mike is right. It should have been a reset moment. But what it actually showed us is that, you know, you can't have a winning deck without any aces in it. And so you've shuffled things around, but you've put more responsibility onto Chris Hipkins, who's already got a lot. You've put building and construction onto Megan Woods, who already has a lot, and there's a little bit around the fringes. So the big questions are, will it turn the polls? I think the answer is probably no. Will it actually fix the issues? Again, I'd say the answer is no, because the policy settings aren't changing. You've got Michael Wood going into immigration. He's already at loggerheads with the business community, and he is not going to reset immigration in a way that's going to bring in the workers that we need.
Because this is the thing, they're doing the reset, and the businesses are saying we actually need the staff. So, I mean, does Trish have a point, Mike, that actually it's Labour's policy platform that voters aren't gelling with?
I think that's partly true, but I also look at the subtleties here. For example, one of the problems is the three waters. Well, they've put Kieran McAnulty in as an associate local government minister. Kieran is a star of the future. He's turned Wairarapa into a safe seat for himself, and he'll get out there and explain it. He comes from the regions, so that's a move in the right direction. But I also think the timing's very good, because I think, unlike Trish, that Chris Luxon is starting to drop the ball. I mean, we heard his answer to the gang problem last Saturday, which is make them change their jackets. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Well, it was one of a number.
Well, that's the big takeaway.
I mean, but all he's doing is just jumping on the political bandwagon to score a few points, which, I mean, he's a politician, right? Yeah,
exactly. So, but there's no substance to it. And I think the timing of this announcement is very good. The people who are going, I knew they were going. You know, Chris Farfoy dropped out of Mana's seat before the last election and went on the list, moved to the Wairarapa. Clear indication.
I've never seen a least interested MP in my life.
Yeah,
I mean, we struggled to get him on the show.
Exactly, but he was persuaded by Jacinda to stay on a bit longer.
Now, why would you do that, Trish? Why would you say to someone who's, look, do you know what, my heart's not in it, I want to be at home with my kid, kid's going to school, Please stay for another year. Why?
Because it's back to you don't have the depth of people to bring forward. Mike's got
that is absolute nonsense. This is the biggest caucus any party in history ever has.
Then where are
absolute,
they? Then why do you think
that's quantity over quality? And if you had that much talent, you would have had for weeks leading up to this a lot of commentary about here are all these superstar new MPs. Gosh, this one should be in cabinet. It's been absolute radio silence because no one knows who potentially those rising stars are. But I think that let's come back to Three Waters because that's a really great point. Labor is struggling in two areas. One is they have lost connection with the regions, especially amongst those middle voters who they need to keep sticky with them to beat National. They're not resonating with them. Layer over that, the grumpiness in the regions about Three Waters. The problem you've got there is Nanaia Mahuta remains as the lead in that portfolio. She's had an associate put in Foreign Affairs so that she can travel more. Well, that seems like a sort of a no-brainer for a Foreign Minister, doesn't it? But Three Waters in and of itself is such a lightning rod for the concern around this government and the fact that, you know, they are pushing through ideological policies, which they say, yep, we campaigned on, but at this point you need to be moderating a bit more.
National has not presented any alternative to Three Waters.
No.
They've criticised it.
I agree, but politically they don't have to at the moment,
I think they do. At some point they do.
At some point I agree they do, but right now they're just making hay while the sun shines. Let's move to, speaking of making hay while the sun shines, Trevor's done a bit of that, to Trevor Mallard, and I just want to play you a clip. This is from Peter Dunn, good old Peter Dunn, who was on with Lisa Owen on Radio New Zealand last night, and Lisa was asking him about Trevor getting this plum roll in Europe. Take a listen.
So what then do you make of the fact that he's getting a prime posting, it would appear?
I think that's probably something that deserves the charity of my silence.
Do you think he's particularly diplomatic?
No.
Mike, do you agree?
No, I don't. I think I've known Trevor Mallard a lot longer than Peter Dunn has. He's up to the job, and if you read the Herald this morning, the best political journalist is Audrey Young, and she says he's up to the job. So
80% of the time, she said.
Yeah, well, that's good enough for me.
Trish, on a serious note, you know, there are a few lightning rod issues and people, and Trevor Mallard is one of them, and there are a lot of people, great many people out there who just cannot stand the guy. Why would Jacinda Ardern expend political capital at a time she doesn't have a lot on a man who she doesn't need to?
Well, you know, Labor should have just handed Trevor the golden clock for retirement, not the golden handshake.
The silver tray.
Well, there we go. Even better from Labor. Should have just handed him that, engraved it and said, see you later. Why he's got the golden handshake. And I heard someone, this was the reasoning, oh, well, he's visited family a lot in Ireland recently, so he should be the ambassador. This is nuts. I mean, you know, diplomatic postings, they require, a senior diplomat, they require a certain temperament, a certain gravitas. I think Trevor in the Speaker's chair has amply demonstrated that he doesn't have that. And, you know, there might have been a more fitting retirement for him, I think.